Welcome in, everyone, to our deep dive into the world of Ding Liren.
It's going to be fun.
Current world chess champion.
Absolutely.
We're going to be using a really interesting mix of sources today.
Yeah.
Some game breakdowns, plus snippets from some of his interviews.
Sounds good.
The goal is to go way beyond the headlines, figure out what makes Ding such a fascinating figure in the chess world.
I mean, it really is remarkable to kind of have these insights into his thoughts and his approach to the game.
Right.
Especially, he's been through so much recently.
Absolutely. I think everyone is curious what's been going on with him.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's rewind a bit first. Talk about his early career.
Yeah.
When you look at those early games, it's almost shocking how aggressive they are.
It is.
We're talking queen sacrifices, bold attacks.
Yeah.
Even a game where his king just walked across the board, leaving his opponent's pieces totally stranded.
It's a very unusual style to see, particularly as players start competing at higher levels.
Right.
Usually, as the pressure increases, you see people kind of shift to a more cautious, strategic approach.
Right, because one mistake can be fatal when you're playing against the best in the world.
Absolutely.
But Ding's early games are so fearless, like he's almost prioritizing beauty and excitement over just winning.
Yeah, and this is a theme that kind of runs throughout his career.
Yeah.
There's this game from the Chinese League that he actually calls his favorite.
Oh, wow.
It's not even a major tournament game, but it just perfectly illustrates his approach.
Ooh.
He starts as black, sacrifices a pawn, then the queen creates this incredible chain of checks and forcing moves.
So he's setting up some elaborate
It's really something.
series of events.
Yes. And then there's this key moment where he plays rook d4.
Okay.
Ding himself has said that this move was all about the aesthetic beauty of the position, even though it wasn't the most aggressive option. That really tells you something about his philosophy.
Yeah.
He's drawn to that elegance and artistry of chess. And that's something you see even in his most competitive games.
So how does that artistic sensibility translate into his play when he's facing, tough opponents?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at a specific example from one of his early games.
Okay.
This one's from 2009, and you can already see that signature Ding style.
Yeah, look at this position.
Yeah.
Instead of going for the immediate checkmate, he chooses a move that forces his opponent to make a series of defensive moves.
Interesting.
It's almost like he's choreographing a dance, leading his opponent into a trap.
It's beautiful, but it's also incredibly effective.
It is.
His opponent is completely tied up trying to defend.
Right.
And eventually Ding just swoops in for the win.
This is what makes Ding so dangerous.
Yeah.
He combines that artistic flair with this deep understanding of strategy and tactics.
Right.
He can outmaneuver you, calculate you, and sometimes it feels like he's playing on a completely different level.
And it's interesting to see how that approach evolves as his career progresses.
Absolutely.
He's still drawn to those beautiful flowing games.
Yeah.
But he also develops this incredible resilience and ability to adapt to his opponents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His rise to the top is a testament to that evolution.
Right.
He becomes the youngest player ever to win the Chinese Chess Championship.
Wow.
Then places second in the Under-10 World Championship.
Amazing.
He even goes on to achieve a 100-game unbeaten streak.
Wow.
Which is practically unheard of at that level.
Talk about a chess prodigy.
Right.
And of course, we have to talk about his victories against Magnus Carlsen.
Of course.
Who was the undisputed king of chess for so long.
For so long.
The Ding Walk game, where his king went on that incredible journey.
Amazing.
And then those 2 blitz wins at Tata Steel Chess India just this year.
Those were more than just victories.
Yeah.
Those were statements.
Yeah.
Ding proved that he could beat Carlsen, not just with raw talent, but with this deep understanding of the game.
Right.
He wasn't intimidated by Carlsen's reputation.
Right.
He just went out there and played his game.
And that's part of what makes him so captivating to watch.
It is.
He has this quiet confidence, this almost Zen-like approach.
Right.
And then suddenly he unleashes these incredibly complex combinations that leave you wondering how he even saw them.
It's like he can see several moves ahead, anticipating his opponent's responses, and always staying one step ahead.
And this is where we start to see the tension between his artistic approach and the demands of top-level chess.
Yeah.
Because after reaching the peak, becoming world champion, things haven't been easy for him.
No, they haven't.
His rating has dropped. There's been a noticeable change in his play, and in some of his recent interviews, he's been incredibly open about struggling with things like depression and insomnia.
And that brings up this important point about the mental toll.
Yeah.
That comes with competing at such a high level.
Yeah.
It's something a lot of athletes deal with. But there's still a stigma around talking about mental health, especially in a field like chess.
It's incredibly brave of him to be so honest about what he's going through.
It is.
It really humanizes him and reminds us that even world champions are vulnerable to these kinds of challenges.
Absolutely. And when you consider the pressure he's facing, becoming world champion after Carlsen's dominance,
right?
The constant scrutiny, the expectations.
Yeah.
It's not surprising that he's been struggling.
There's also this idea of the poison chalice effect,
right?
Which is something that's been talked about a lot in sports psychology.
Yeah.
It's the idea that once you achieve your ultimate goal, it can be really hard to find that same level of motivation and drive.
Essentially, what do you strive for after you've already reached the top?
Right.
It can lead to a sense of emptiness or even disillusionment.
Right.
And in a game like chess, where mental clarity and focus are so crucial, that kind of psychological shift can have a huge impact on your performance.
Plus, you have to factor in the time he's taken off to focus on his mental health.
Yeah.
Which could lead to a bit of rest when he returns to competitive play.
Absolutely.
It's a complex situation with a lot of different factors at play.
Right. And it's important to remember that we're only seeing one side of the story.
Right.
We can analyze his games and speculate about the reasons for his slump, but ultimately, we don't know exactly what's going on inside his head.
Exactly. So while it's tempting to draw conclusions based on his recent performance, I think it's crucial to approach this with empathy and recognize that he's going through something incredibly difficult.
And to his credit, he's facing it head on.
Right.
He's not shying away from the conversation about mental health.
Right.
And he's still putting himself out there, competing at the highest level.
Right.
That takes a lot of courage.
Speaking of competition, let's talk about the upcoming World Championship match against Gukesh.
Oh, yeah!
This is going to be huge, especially considering Ding's recent struggles and the fact that Gukesh is this incredibly talented young player who just won the candidates tournament.
It's almost like a clash of generations.
Yeah.
Gukesh's style is so creative and aggressive, almost reminiscent of a younger Ding.
Right.
He's not afraid to take risks, and he plays with this incredible energy and intensity.
You mentioned positional play earlier.
Right.
And this is where I think it's important to clarify what that means for our listeners who might not be familiar with the term.
Sure.
It's basically the idea of controlling key squares and areas on the board, even if it doesn't lead to immediate attacks.
Right. It's about building a strong foundation, restricting your opponent's options, and creating long-term advantages.
Right.
And what's fascinating about Gukesh is that even though he's known for his aggressive style, he's also shown a deep understanding of positional play.
Okay.
He's not just about attacking.
Right.
He can play a patient, strategic game when he needs to.
So he's a very well-rounded player, which makes him an even more formidable opponent for Ding. Absolutely. A lot of people are actually predicting that this could be a passing of the torch moment with Gukesh representing the new generation of chess superstars.
The compelling narrative.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't count Ding out just yet.
Right.
Remember, he thrives under pressure.
Right.
We've seen him come back from difficult situations before.
Right.
And he has a knack for rising to the occasion in big moments.
And even though his form has been inconsistent lately, we can't forget the brilliance he's capable of.
We can't.
Those incredible tactical combinations, the strategic depth, the way he can just dismantle his opponent's positions.
Think back to the 2018 Olympiad.
Yeah.
Ding was on crutches, recovering from surgery.
Oh, wow.
And he still managed to win the gold medal on board 1 for China.
That's incredible.
That shows you the kind of resilience and determination this man possesses.
Exactly. He might be the underdog going into this match.
He might be.
But we've learned never to underestimate Ding Liren. He's a fighter, and he has a history of proving his doubters wrong.
Yeah, it really is a fascinating matchup. You have these two contrasting styles, these generational differences, and this underlying question of whether Ding can reclaim his peak form. It's shaping up to be a true battle of minds, a test of wills, and a showcase of chess at its absolute finest.
It's also a testament to the evolving landscape of chess.
It is.
We're seeing this new wave of players emerge,
Right.
challenging the old guard and pushing the boundaries of the game. It's a really exciting time to be following the chess world.
Absolutely. And Ding's journey is a big part of that excitement.
Right.
It's not just about wins and losses.
Yeah.
It's about pushing those boundaries, confronting challenges, and showing that vulnerability can be a strength.
I think that's a really important takeaway from all of this. He's achieved incredible success, but he's also been incredibly open about his struggles. It's a reminder that even at the highest level,
Right.
even world champions are still human.
And that human element is what makes his story so compelling. It's not just about analyzing his games or predicting his next move.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the person behind the chessboard.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Ding Liren, let's bring it back to you, our listener. What can we learn from Ding's journey? What makes his story resonate with people who might not even be chess fans?
Well, for one, it's a window into this world of elite chess. This game of strategy, intellect, and psychological warfare that has captivated minds for centuries. But it's also a story of resilience, of facing adversity and finding the strength to keep fighting even when the odds are stacked against you.
And maybe most importantly, it's a reminder that success isn't always a straight path.
Right.
There will be setbacks, there will be challenges.
Yeah.
But it's how we navigate those obstacles that truly defines us.
Exactly. And I think Ding's story embodies that perfectly. He's faced his share of adversity both on and off the board, but he continues to push forward to challenge himself and to grow as both a player and a person.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. How do you think Ding will fare in this upcoming World Championship match? What does his story tell us about the pressures and triumphs of competing at the highest level in any field?
We encourage you to delve deeper into Ding's games, to follow his journey, and to see for yourself what unfolds in this epic battle for the World Chess Championship.
It's going to be exciting.
It's a story that's still being written, and one that has the potential to captivate and inspire us all.